Hey guys, it's Jet888 here. It is May 19th. I'm just going to run by a couple plants for you all because I think with all these shortages that they're going to be um, shoving down our throats, I think people need to kind of understand and comprehend that they've got some alternatives if they turn away from the pharmaceuticals and take control of their own situation if they're in that position where they have to be. So I'm going to share a couple plants with you. Now these little guys are Justicia spicigera. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Let's see if you can see this. That's the spelling. Justicia spicigera. Right there, I'm going to share with you some medicinal properties that it has. So I'm going to go right here. We're going to look real quick. So this says anti-diabetic effects of Justicia spicigera. I don't know how to pronounce that. Now, the aim of this study was to evaluate the cytotoxicity, antioxidant, and anti-diabetic properties. That antioxidant would work for any kind of spike proteins that we've been doused with if you've taken the jab, and cytotoxicity. And this says regarding cytotoxicity is the quality of being toxic to cells. Example of toxic agents are an immune cell or some types of venom. So treating cells with the cytotoxic compound can result in a variety of cell fates. So it says cells exposed to cytotoxic compounds may undergo necrosis, apoptosis, or stop actively growing, which is good if you have cancer. So one of their conclusions here is the anti-diabetic effects of administration of J. spicigera are related to the stimulation of glucose uptake in both insulin and sensitive and insulin resistant marine and human adipocytes. And this evidence justify its empirical use. Empirical is they've observed it. So this plant exerts glucose lowering effects in normal glycemic and STZ induced diabetic rats. So here's a study showing an anti-tumor effects of Justicia spicigera, and their results here said that it lacked toxic effects against human normal cells but had apoptic effects against the HeLa cell lines, and that's uterine, I think. No, it's cervical, so cervical cancer. This study shows isolated extracts from Justicia leaves used as remedy for anemia, and they got these benefits from just simply making a tea from the leaves. And this said that it showed the presence of hemoglobin 4 times higher than that of similar lyophilized human hemoglobin. This states this study reveals the presence of high levels of elements essential for blood health in the isolated extracts from Justicia plant leaves. And it talks about the findings as a remedy for blood disorders like anemia, which disproportionately affects cancer patients, pregnant women, and populations in low and middle income countries. Okay, here's another plant. This is called plantain. I think it's Plantago Major. It's called broadleaf plantain, and also it's also has rib-leafed plantain, which is a narrower, that's a Plantago minor. You see the ribbing here, and you'll see it has a big seed pod here. Look at the little ladybug. Hello. And the seeds you can eat, they're high in protein as well, but they like wetter areas you can find by streams or parks. So I'll go over real quickly some things that it can affect in a good way. The effect of Plantago Major on wound healing. And here it says, look, effects of endothelial dysfunction. So it helps because this is a blood purifier. It helps purify the blood. This talks about seed and management of ulcerative colitis symptoms. So I'll come and look at this real quick, medicinal benefits of Plantago Major. So this article When was the date? 217, 2017. So it says the medicinal benefits of Plantago Major have been acknowledged around the world for hundreds of years. The plant contains a number of effective chemical constituents, including flavonoids, alkaloids, terpenoids, phenolic acid derivatives. So here, fatty acids, you see all these vitamins, which contribute to exerting specific therapeutic benefit or effects. Correspondingly, studies have found that Plantago Major is effective as a wound healer as well as an anti-ulcerative, anti-diabetic, anti-diarrheal, anti-inflammatory, anti-nociceptive, we'll look that up, antibacterial, antiviral agent. It also combats fatigue, probably because it's a blood purifier. And cancer is an antioxidant and a free radical scavenger, which would really be helpful with the spike proteins that have been found in these experimental shots. So anti-nociception, it looks like it involves the suppression of nociceptive processing level of spinal cord, so it might help with pain, an opioid antagonist. So it helps with pain tolerance is what this is about. So here's another quick study on Plantago Major, the broadleaf plantain. So again, they mention wound healing. This includes diseases related to the skin, respiratory organs, digestive organs, reproduction, the circulation, against cancer, and for pain relief and against infections. So it says a range of biological activities has been found from plant extracts, including wound healing activity, anti-inflammatory, analgesic, that's pain, helping with pain, antioxidant, weak, antibiotic, immune modulating, and what is that? Anti-ulcerogenic activity. So like if you have an ulcer, because it helps with blood purification. Yeah, but they won't really tell you about this though, but anyhow, it's beneficial effects. So if you see this type of plant, give it a little love. Maybe you can share it, take some, eat it, make some tea out of it. That's what I do anyhow. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying that's what I do. And I use it also for, like if I get stung by a bee or something, it's a great anti-venom. You can use it internally and externally. Or give it to your horse because they like it too. I'll show you one more really quickly. Now this is bamboo, and bamboo is really high in silica. And silica also, if you happen to have potted plants or whatever, it's good to help keep them hydrated. They obtain water easier with the silica. But bamboo makes a really great tea also. If you happen to have melanoma, it's good for that. So silica is really good. So this is how I search. I just look up therapeutic properties of just bamboo. You can use the scientific or the common name. I'm here, not that they're my favorite people, and they are kind of hiding information, so you better get it quickly. So this one study says potent anti-inflammatory and anti-dipogenic properties of bamboo. We're going to go look that up right there. It probably has something to do with fat because the adipose. So adipogenesis is fat, and it's the formation of adipose fat cells from stem cells. So anti-adipogenesis is it counters being fat. So this is just how I, as a layman, look things up. So it's a potent anti-inflammatory. So this says the pro-inflammatory response and recruitment of macrophages into adipose tissue contribute to metabolic dysfunction. Here we reported the anti-inflammatory and anti-adipogenic genic effects of the, sorry, my phone was interrupted, but they took the bamboo leaf. So cut to the chase, go to the very bottom. It says, therefore, SCN is a potential therapeutic agent for the prevention of inflammation and obesity. So this study was for this specific plant, Saccharina nakea, so they call it SCN. But I bet most bamboo probably has similar properties, and it contains several flavonoids, so that's a good thing. Flavonoids tend to be antioxidants. Here's another study. showing the benefits of bamboo exhibit anti-tumor activity through activating innate immunity. So in this study, they were using a hot water extract, basically just like a tea. They also used chaga mushroom. So this is interesting. Bamboo salt is a traditional medicine produced from sea salt. It is widely used in Oriental medicine and is an alkalizing agent with reported anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and chemotherapeutic properties. So they write about the interaction between lipid membranes, that's your fat membranes, and bamboo salt. It states the bamboo salts on lipid membranes are due to the alkalinity imparting a stronger hydration force. You would think too that they would have to be able to hydrate because of how tall their shoots are. So I just think that's kind of interesting. I wonder if that's part of the cell salts, which are so important for us to have minerals. Now here's a good tree. This is slippery elm. I think it's a Ulmus americana. The leaves are a nutrient and a demulcent. I know sometimes if my dog's tummies are upset, they'll come and grab some of these leaves. You can look up more information online. They're all over the place. See the little jagged leaves? Okay, wait, that's the name of my tree that I have. Almacia ulmus uruba. It's a different type, but it's still, this is slippery elm. So here's this name, slippery elm, Ulmus rubra. It's chewed and may be effective for soothing sore throat. This is a WebMD site. It's also used for constipation, stomach ulcers, skin disorders. So here at Kaiser Permanente site, who I can't stand, they say it's high mucilage. So anything that you chew and it's kind of slimy, these have these kind of properties. Mucilage slippery elm, it gives it soothing effect for coughs, digestive tract, irritation to the walls of the intestinal tract that can occur with diarrhea. Let's see, it's slippery nature, soothes irritated mucous membranes. So it's soothing herb for traditionally used to treat reflux and heartburn. Now remember, this is competition to the big pharma, so here's alternative names for it. American elm, all these like red elm, sweet elm, soft elm. And it's known as the king of digestive herbs. Slippery elm bark is extremely rich in mucilage, the active ingredient that forms the gruel that soothes and nourishes the digestive tract. It also coats the mucous membranes and absorbs toxins, which can cause intestinal imbalances. So toxins, we're dealing with a lot of those right now. In the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine, a study saw that it had good bacteria, can help with good bacteria for the gut. And the same study found that it also reduced harmful bacteria, which can cause inflammation. It's also in the class of antitussive herbs, which is a respiratory health, puts it in a respiratory health class, and it's capable of suppressing and relieving coughing and other upper respiratory complaints. So these are all some things that we might be happy to have around, especially if they stop any kind of shipments for any kind of medications, which I wouldn't take over the counter medications anyhow, but that's just me. This says here too, when Europeans arrived in North America and the native tribes taught them to use this slippery elm as a last resort food. They basically used the bark, dried it, pounded it up, and made a coarse flour out of it, which created a creamy sweet taste, much like oat porridge. And it says this explains how many settlers survived their first winters on little more than slippery elm porridge. It's also an effective wound healer, too. So, slippery elm, remember that. Okay, guys, thanks for hanging with me. Maybe I'll show you about elderberry later.